Moi kaikki! Thank you to my YouTube members and Patreon members for voting for this topic. Now, in today's video, we will be discussing demonstrative pronouns, particularly the words tämä, tuo, and se. So the stuff we will cover in this video, we will use to build upon in next week's videos, where we will go into more depth and also look at the different forms that these words can take, which is where a lot of the confusion arises from. But to understand those forms, we need to really know the basics, so this video will go over that. Let's start with the demonstrative pronoun tämä. Essentially, tämä means this. So you're talking about something close enough to touch. So you're talking about something concrete within touching distance of yourself. So that would be what you use tämä for. For example, tämä kirja or tää kirja. This book. It's in my hands. I'm holding it. It's right here beside me in my hands. So you use tämä. Tämä kirja. Tää kirja. This book. Or if this pen was on the table right here, it's close enough for me to touch. It's right beside me, so I could say tämä kynä, or tää kynä, this pen. Tämä pöytä, tää pöytä. It's right here in front of me. I can touch it, therefore I use tämä pöytä. You can sometimes also use tämä in situations that are not so concrete. You can use it, for example, to say tämä kuukausi, meaning this month that you're in right now. Tämä kuukausi, this month. On the other hand, we have the word tuo or toi in puhekieli. Essentially, tuo means something that is close to you, but something that you can't really touch, but you can point at it. If this book was across the room from me, let's say it's like over here and pretend I can't touch it, I could point at it and say tuo kirja, that book, or toi kirja in puhekieli. Okay, let's pretend I can't touch it, because if I could touch it and I'm touching it, I'm like tää kirja. But if I can't touch it, but I still can, we can both see it, I would say toi kirja. Toi kirja or tuo kirja, that book right there. Toi kirja. Same thing with the pen. If it's just slight, oops, well now it's on the floor. So I would say, I can't, it's a bit far away for me to pick it up. So I could point to the floor and say, toi kynä, or tuo kynä. Toi kynä lattialla. That pen on the floor. Okay? But then if I bend over and pick it up, I would change to say, tää kynä. Because I'm touching it, it's in my hands. Tää kynä. If I'm talking about the wall on the other side of the room, I could point to the wall and say toi seinä. Toi seinä. Because if I touch this wall, I could be like tää seinä. On the other side of the room, I'd say toi seinä, that wall. Tää seinä, this wall. Toi seinä, that wall. This word, you can also use it in non-concrete ways. For example, toi idea, or tuo idea, meaning that idea. Then finally, the word se, S-E, it means it, or also that. It can also mean that. But you would use, the difference between tuo, toi, and se is that se refers to something you can't see or touch. If we get rid of these and I hide them behind the camera, and let's pretend neither of us can see it right now, but you know what I'm talking about, because you just saw the book, suddenly it vanishes and disappears, and I would say se kirja, joka oli just tässä, that book that was just here. Neither of us can see it anymore, but we both know what we're talking about, because I'm like, se kirja, that book, joka oli just tässä, that was just here. So it's something that neither of us, let's pretend neither of us can see it at this very moment. Or se kynä, joka oli tässä, that pen that was just here. Se kynä, that pen that maybe you used yesterday, but you don't have on you right now. Se kynä, jota käytit eilen. That pen that you used yesterday, but neither of us can see it or are holding it right now. Another example could be se tyyppi, jonka näit eilen. that dude that you saw yesterday. So we both know who we're talking about. We're talking about se tyyppi, that dude, but neither of us like see him in this very moment, but we're referring to se tyyppi. Firstly, tämä tuose, they can be used to substitute a noun and used as a subject in a sentence. Tämä on hyvä takki. This is a good jacket. Toi ei toimi hyvin. Like this thing doesn't work well. Like if I'm referring to the camera, I'm pointing, toi ei toimi hyvin. That doesn't work well. Or se oli likainen. Secondly, they can be used in an adjective-like manner connected to nouns. When they're used in this manner, they do take on some of the cases, the same case as the word that they're connected to. So for example, tässä talossa on paljon huoneita. In this house, there are lots of rooms. So here you can see that the word tämä has kind of shifted into a new form, the form being tässä. So the meaning slightly changes, and it's also reflecting the same case as talossa, in the house. So tässä talossa, in this house. We'll talk about these words more in my next videos, but I just wanted to point out that this does happen, and that's why also this can be a little bit confusing. And number 3, these words can be used as a base for certain adverbs. In these situations, they point to the verb in the sentences. So those are the 3 main ways that tämä, tuo, se, and their relatives can be used. So the cases and the adverbs that are connected to tämä, tuo, se, I think are where people start to get confused. So this was just like the basic level of understanding, and then in my next videos we will cover this in more depth and the different forms that tämä, tuo, se can take. Mut joo, nähdään ensi videossa. Moikka!